This Future Cities Africa episode is with Dr. Vuyiwe Tsako, a local government expert with a sound knowledge of administration. We discuss the need to redefine local government culture, key challenges, if true relationships really matter, and much more. Dr. Tsako, welcome. It's lovely to have you on the show. Given your experience, what is your assessment of the state of local government in South Africa, especially in terms of leadership?
Since I'm a person who like to read a lot, there's an author called Donald Miller. When he defines a true relationship in one of his quotes, he once said, "When you stop expecting people to be perfect, you can like them for who they are." I'm starting with this because that is not the case with local government. There is nothing called a true relationship. However, there's a kind of a relationship that exists within the local government or the municipal environment. Whether we speak of a relationship between the municipality and the community members, or the councillors and the community members, as well as the admin leadership and political leadership and even staff. Having worked for local government for more than 20 years and with more than 7 municipalities, my assessment is that there is no romantic relationship or a sweetheart relationship in local government. When somebody loves you, you feel safe and comfortable, and at most you feel so relaxed. So there's no kind of situation which exists of that nature within local government. You cannot be fully comfortable and relaxed in that environment. So that has been my assessment. One example is, when political leaders get elected, before they can even get into the system, they work and associate very well with members of the public, with the community they are about to serve. You'll observe that there's some sort of a relationship that exists, which makes that political leader may be secured of the community that this person is about to serve. And you would observe actions of devotion also from the side of the political leader, which such actions are symbolized by elements of faithfulness, allegiance, affection, as well as attachments between the political leader and the members of the community. But once that leader gets into the system of local government or into the municipality, that councillor would honestly get busy and thus affecting the state of a relationship that this person had established before with local communities. And immediately when members of the community see that the councillor is too busy now for them, and that they don't see that person more often, that becomes an issue because there will be issues of trust now, and the leader will start feeling unsafe and uncomfortable. So in most cases, those leaders will run away from the meetings in fear of their life. They'll run away from accounting to the communities. And that's why in most municipalities, to be specific, we find that political leaders as well as admin leaders, they have some bodyguards. In those instances, because the committee members would still want that councillor to account as their leader, they'll do all the means to make that councillor account, including embarking on protest actions. So that on its own would lead to a breakdown in trust relationship. So in this case, you'll find a situation whereby a political leader, before he gets into the system of local government, there is a certain level of trust and between that person and the members of the community. But when that person gets into the system, that level of trust and that relationship, it diminishes. As you are also aware, there is a process on the appointment of administrative leadership, meaning the municipal managers and those that are reporting to the municipal managers, which such process is normally conducted through deployment. That is the practice that we're all aware of, which is happening across all municipalities. The whole process, in my view, is characterized by three kinds of relationships. There is a relationship that would observe, or maybe that exists pre deployment. And there's a relationship that exists during deployment, and there's one that exists after deployment. To some extent, I don't know in terms of the thinking of those that are in leadership positions, because sometimes they used to confuse the relationship before deployment with the relationship during, and think that things will go very well as they have been before deployment. So that what makes things becoming sour when it comes to these kind of issues and relationships, because people would expect that the same kind of relationship would happen or would be in existence even during the term of the office, and that will turn out as something else. So some of us, when we get deployed in this position, we get too much comfortable and feel secured and relaxed to an extent that would believe that the same kind of relationship that existed before we get deployed in those positions will be the same even during, which in that instance, that is not normally the case, because there are certain things that characterize such relationships within the local government or the municipal environment.
Thank you. What do you see as the biggest challenges facing local government in South Africa, and how do these challenges impact leadership on a local level?
Well, once I've mentioned the aspect of the relationship and the trust, which I think mainly it affects those that are in leadership, it affects issues of governance and even issues of service delivery. I believe that, in my view, there is a big challenge that is, in my view, within local government, which I would refer to as factionalism. I wrote a paper which was published in 2020, focusing on the effect of political environment on service delivery. That was a study of political instability, patronage, and factionalism in a municipal environment. In that study, I highlighted key points such as because one decides to associate him or herself with a certain faction or a certain group of people, some benefits might be derived. The other side of the coin is that even if you don't, as a leader within local government, associate yourself with a certain group of faction, you don't get trusted. If you can't be located within the factions that exist within local government, you don't get trusted by people or even by those that are in leadership with you. What I've learned in local government is that there is a difference between the position of power and being powerful. And it's important that if you are an administrator, if you are an administrative leader, a municipal manager, or a director, it's important that you don't associate or align yourself with any of those factions or groupings within the municipal environment. Because if you talk of politics, politics change. Things might be suitable for you today and the faction that you have chose to associate yourself with, but tomorrow things might change. So it's better for you not to associate yourself with any factions within local government. But to add more, also local government environment in South Africa gained some dominance of patronage, especially cadre deployment as a result of association with certain factions. If we can have a look at how factions affect relationships within the local government sphere, in my paper that I've written on leadership reputation and the role of factions, I made a point there which says for the political power to be guarded and protected, it is inherent in them that some inner circles within the leading bloc shall influence and control decision making. These inner circles, they graduate and later become a faction in governance. right from the groupings within individual political parties. In this situation of witnessing dominant factions within any political party, because I'm referring to any political party, you'll even have structures, you'll even have formal structures or structured factions like what was called in 2017 your CR17 or your NDZ. And I believe that even in other parties, those formal factions, they do exist. Then in this case, when a structured faction in this manner that we saw and still see in the party is winning its way up, then those that getting appointed or those that get appointed would be those that were sympathetic or associated with the faction that won the leadership race at a conference. Meaning that the appointed senior managers, therefore, are seen as the offspring of the dominant faction and therefore lose the reputation of those not part of the dominant faction. So if you look at that situation and how it manifests itself in most municipalities, you would observe challenges of service delivery. And you would observe that those service delivery challenges are man-made to some extent because in that environment, the environment is dominated by factional politics and issues pertaining to patronage. You'll find situation whereby municipal managers and those that are reporting to municipal managers, they work on instructions because they associate themselves with certain factions. And situations whereby some municipalities, they even get into Section 39 interventions because of the poor performance of the municipality and the fact that the municipality is directed to a certain direction. So those are the challenges that you would find, you would discover in a situation whereby the municipality is characterized by factionalism. And that on its own tend to dent the reputation of the municipality and the reputation of those that are in leadership.
Doctor, given the challenges, what opportunities do you see for improvement?
You see, what I've observed in my experience within local government is that as leaders, we don't want to learn. One of the opportunities that is always there for anyone in leadership position is to learn from the past mistakes of the previous leaders. However, the belief is always that when we take up these positions of leadership, we want to do things according to our own way, or maybe according to the way in which those that have deployed us want us to do such things. So I believe that there are quite a number of lessons that could be learned. There are quite a number of observations that could be taken into consideration and even studies to some extent. There's a lot of work, there's a lot of research that has been done scientifically so within local government space. However, there is minimal or even no platforms at all for such kind of information to be shared amongst those in leadership so that there is improvement in terms of how the municipalities are governed. And I'm talking of very useful and important information that is scientifically proven. So another opportunity that I think it is available in the sphere of local government, I am aware that there's a framework on professionalization of public service that has been recently approved, which extend also to municipalities. And for that reason, it requires that those that are in leadership, your senior managers, they should be part of associations or even councils, professional associations, and abide by the code of conduct for those associations. So it will assist to some extent to improve issues of professionalism within local government because there will be two code of conducts. There will be a code of conduct for the municipality and that for the association. Then meaning that the association will work together with the municipality in ensuring that the code of conduct is being adhered to. So another opportunity that I think it is in place, due to the amendments that are to take place within local government on the permanence of senior managers. I believe that move on its own will create a sort of stability or even improvement in terms of professionalism within local government. It has been the view of many that to some extent your senior managers will embark on patronage practices because they want to secure their contracts. In as much as they won't get probably anything to that extent it is written, but when you are involved in a short-term contractual relationship, you would want at the end to secure your contract to an extent whereby you end up getting into such practices that are unethical for the purpose of securing your contract. So the fact that we have this in place, the issue of permanence of senior managers, so I believe that it will assist a lot within local government. Some of these practices that are not desirable will be sorted out due to the introduction of this provision. I don't want to underestimate the role of COGTA within the sphere of local government because in as much as we speak of deployment of senior managers, but they play a very big role in supporting such appointments and making sure that everything is done according to the rules of the book. So that is an opportunity also that is available for local government, which we should take advantage of and make sure that whatever that we do at a local level, we are not transferring any risk to COGTA, that such risk cannot be managed because appointments are done at a local level, but recommendations are made to COGTA. So we have COGTA in place, which we believe that they are doing a very good job in ensuring the quality of senior managers that get deployed into the system.
Absolutely. What steps do you believe needs to be taken to address these challenges facing local government, especially with regards to leadership and governance?
I believe that there is a need for local government practitioners and those in leadership to redefine the culture. Currently, there is a certain way in which local government or even municipalities is perceived. Defining the culture, it will mean that we have to look at the value system. What kind of values do we expect within local government? The system of values does help one to make decisions, good decisions about the organization. And in a professional environment, such core values form the foundation that build the organization. I believe that we do have, yes, we do have IDPs with values that are listed there. And I don't think those values get to an extent whereby they are operationalized within any municipal environment. But other than operationalizing those values, I believe that as a sphere of local government, we need to redefine the culture of local government so that it is not how it appears to the people, to the community currently. So I think that is important. Another aspect is pertaining to the issue of capacity building. There is a need for more capacity building to be looked at for both political leaders as well as administrative leaders. Whilst I believe that administrative leaders, they are appointed on the basis of their qualifications, skills, and experience. In my experience within local government, I'm of the view that those leaders need to have what is referred to as in the competency framework, political orientation, to understand the political dynamics so that they are able to manage such dynamics within their environment. But other than that, the political leaders are entrusted to ensure oversight. They are deployed to be portfolio heads of the committees within local government municipalities. So it's important that though they get capacitated. You'll find a councillor hardly having, let's say, a tertiary qualification, being in charge of a portfolio committee that deals with finance issues, financial statements, assets, and all of that. So it's important that also when it comes to deployment of political leaders, a certain criteria should be used that involve a qualification, a desirable qualification, so that those that are in the system, it's easy for them to be capacitated to ensure the oversight role is improved within the municipal environment.
Doctor, how can local government leaders in South Africa work collaboratively with other stakeholders, such as civil society organizations, to improve governance and service delivery on a local level?
Much can be done to ensure that local government work in collaboration with other stakeholders. The National Policy Framework on Public Participation, which was came into effect in 2007, is still relevant. That framework emphasized more on issues pertaining to community involvement, meaning that as municipalities, we need to involve the community both in terms of transferring information on any issue, accepting feedback or on the issues, and allowing the community to influence the substance of the decisions that are being made. In short, the framework assumes some degree of power sharing with the community, which I believe that is important. The minute the community members feel that they are part of the system, that they are involved in decision making, they'll feel comfortable and become proud of the municipality. So another aspect is consulting with the communities, which is an important aspect as well. To consult with the communities involves both the transmission of information, but also feedback from the community. When I speak of the community, I would refer to stakeholders, like your stakeholder groups, your ward committees, and the public at large. And I believe that is a very important part, which to some extent in some municipalities is not done effectively. It's just done to tick the box, but consultation with the community is important. Getting that feedback is important. Making sure that you deal with issues that arise from that feedback is also important. So I think that is my take on the issue.
Doctor, finally, what role do you see for citizens in improving local government in South Africa? And what can they do to hold their leaders accountable and promote positive change in their communities?
Citizens have to form partnerships with the municipality, or we refer to that as participation. One example is what is referred to as joint projects. Community has considerable influence on decision-making process, but the government still takes responsibility for the decision. So we envisage a situation where that happens, where we make sure that communities, they are part of the projects, they've got influence in terms of the project, they are consulted whenever the project is to take place and even during the implementation of the project. So participation is seen by external agencies as means to achieve project goals, especially when they are when the municipality has got financial problems. So it's important that even committee members know where the money is going to. It's important that they understand where the municipality is in terms of the finances, so that even when it comes to their demands, they demand what the municipality can afford. So I've seen or observed in the past some municipalities that embarked on programs with the community, like your community policing forums or community safety forums. Though that is a good example where municipalities are working with the members of the community to ensure safety and security of the community members. And also, if you talk of participation, participation may also be for certain incentives, whether material or non-material, where people participate by contributing their resources or maybe their efforts into some projects or programs of the municipality, and in return, they'll get some cash or material incentives. So that kind of participation, cooperation, and partnerships is important. And it will make employees, sorry, it will make community members to feel that they belong, which is important. When it comes to system of accountability, there is what is referred to as political accountability as well as administrative accountability. Where in this case, political accountability is a situation where politicians make choices on behalf of the people, and the people have got the ability to sanction the politicians. So it's different from administrative accountability, where in this case, it refers to accountability of those administrators who, in some ways or other, contribute to the decision-making process. And this accountability is to the political system as a whole. But what I want to reflect on this kind of accountability, in as much as I don't think in most municipal environment, committee members are aware how to make their leaders accountable or are aware of the system of accountability. Because you'll find a system of accountability that is in such a way that committee members are always carrying placards and fighting for administrators to be out of the system. You might not understand whether is it because they don't understand that they have to hold their political leaders accountable and not officials, and the officials need to be held accountable by those that are in political positions within the municipality. So you'll find a situation which is rare, where members of the community are holding those that are in administration accountable for certain things. So basically, that is what is skewed in our environment, which is happening in most municipalities. In as much as there are all these challenges within local government, I believe that there are pockets of excellence. There are municipalities that are doing very well. There are municipalities that have retained the clean audits for quite a number of years. There are municipalities that are a very best practice. There are political leaders and as well as administrative leaders that are conducting themselves ethically and that are doing, performing their duties diligently and to the best of their ability. So there are those pockets of excellence, but that doesn't take away the fact that there are challenges within local government, because we have to deal with those challenges. And in order for us to deal with them, we have to identify them so that we are able to deal with those challenges.
A special thanks to Dr. Vuyiwe Tsako for this insightful conversation on Future Cities Africa.